Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast, out of the NRL Supercoach Round 1, Part 2. Proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams, and this time last week was described as the final day of the year, the knock-off for the week before Christmas, that little taste that you get for what's to come. We've arrived at Christmas Day for NRL Supercoach. It's Team List Tuesday, Part 2, the final 6 games, and boy, there's some surprises in there, boys, especially at my beloved Canberra Raiders. Here to chat through them with us, as always, the SC Spy. Spy, how are you, mate?
If I'm ever not good in the middle of round 1 NRL, there's some questions to be asked. But yeah, if this is Christmas Day, then I think Boxing Day cricket is probably Thursday night. It runs for 5 days, so it's perfect, really. Do you get a bit of a fresh fade there, mate? Looking pretty tidy. I cut my own hair. A little fun fact for the week.
In the least surprising news of the week. Been doing it forever?
Yeah, 5 years. It was during COVID lockdown, and I was just watching old mate cut my hair. I'm like, I can do this. So I did, and it'll come up at some point, but I did stages on Facebook to see, and people had to guess how it would turn out. And the people were surprised. It's actually maybe I'm a hairdresser in a past life or something.
It's not too bad. You've done it right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Not a heap
Don't
to
have
cut.
a lot up there.
No. Also with
the
us
job done.
today, a bloke with a lush set of curls on him, Maxy Bryden. Good to have you back, mate.
Thanks, Timothy. Please drop in the YouTube comments your thoughts on Spy's self-haircut. That would be great. We'll get that one trending, please, out of 10. But Timothy, no, I'm well, man. I'm just sitting here thinking that this time next year, I'm going to be absolutely exhausted after coming back from Las Vegas and seeing the West Tigers win. How good is that going to be?
Mate, the reason that you're a little bit harder to get on, I suppose you can call it the program these days, you're a father. Been a father for a couple of years now, so it's making things tough. Are you a sniff or not?
Tell you what, if I can have a really good night, Las Vegas themed at Star City, and fund it that way, then maybe. But otherwise, I've got 12 months to state my case and make my argument. So it begins now.
I was about to say, you two are parents. I am not at this stage of my career. Like, is 12 months enough? With fairly fresh, toddlers. We'll call them toddlers.
Yeah.
That's what they are. Is 12 months enough time to get enough brownie points to get a trip to Vegas or not?
I think, as Spy would say, being a parent, the days are long, but the years are short. So it might not be enough time. So we will see. But anyway, the campaign starts now.
For me, it's more about picking your battles. Like, it's great to go to Vegas, but then there's going to be other things you want to do, and they're suddenly off the table. So you got to be clever about what you request, I reckon.
Okay. Or just put that in the YouTube comments, please. What should I prioritise
We'll do a
next
separate
year?
podcast of Dad's chat.
Also with us today, Matty the Waterboy, reeling from the fact that Tallis Duncan, once again, overlooked by the Bunnies in the starting team. That being said, Matty, I mean, firstly, how are you? But that being said, not a bad problem to have for your Bunnies.
Yeah, it's for the first time in a long time we've had a bit of depth, considering all those injuries. But yeah, I don't know. They didn't. The whole Tallis Duncan starting thing was a Jason Demetriou thing. Now that Wayne's done it, I mean, Wayne's
okay.
It's all sweet. He's got enough runs on the board, more than anyone. So a little bit surprised, but yeah, I mean, Ewan Aiken was phenomenal last year.
He's very underrated, Ewan Aiken, and said I think basically whenever he was fit, it was pretty well the whole year, but he was an 80-minute man for them. And as you said, like, if Bennett picked Tallis Duncan at fullback and Ewan Aiken at 5'8", you'd kind of be like, yeah, Wayne's done it, I'll back him in.
Yeah, exactly right. Sorry, my mic just fucked up.
That's all right, mate. I'll get back into it. Guys, on today's show, we're going to get straight into the action today because there is a lot to get through. Team List Tuesday pointers, the winners and the losers, of course, from the Vegas Openers, headlined by Kalyn Ponga and the other Couchman brother, huge Ryan Couchman. We're going to also discuss the early comparisons in the new stats system for 2026 because we learn a lot. It was only 2 games, but there were some significant differences in it. Shout out Trey Mooney owners licking their lips at that one. As a non-Trey Mooney owner, filthy. We'll get to that one shortly. But yeah, so we'll get to that one. Also, we're going to finish up with a Maxy Bryden team reveal. First time he's been on since we've been dropping a team reveal, so we'll get through that one later on in the show. Big changes as a result of those weekend stat indicators. Unlimited League still open. Will be for a little bit, so you don't need to rush to get in. That being said, don't waste time. Unlimited League code is 479007. Take us on if you think you can beat the SC Playbook crew for a chance to win $1,000 in cash. And the Discord absolutely popping off across the weekend. Channels for every sport. Contributor-only ones for our discussions, our trades, our team updates, all these sorts of things. Late mail and team news. I've been doing weekly Q&As in there. 2 of them last week. We got stuck back into those this week. to help people with their big questions ahead of the final part of round one. If your subscription is active with SC Playbook, go to your account on our website and click Connect Discord. It is that easy.
Am I allowed to do impromptu footy Q&A videos and related stuff? Because
I've been thinking about this, Spy, and it would add tremendous subscriber value, but you're also playing with fire. It's
Pick your battle, Spy.
I need to really mull over this one, but yes, there is an avenue. I think what we'll do is you can be whiskey influenced, but only up to 3 whiskies. I think we put a ban on you after 10 p.m. of a Friday or Saturday night.
the only people watching at 10 p.m. are the people that want to see me drunk anyway, but I don't need to do it then.
Shirt must remain on at all times, even though it is audio based, but I think they will know. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. So, yes, we can work with
We'll
this.
talk T's and C's.
We'll talk T's and T's later. And guys, the SC Paper subscription sale obviously gets you access to a ton of additional premium articles on our site each and every week of the season and throughout the year, including our updated team reveals this week, cheapie rankings, all of that good stuff, in-depth analysis, subscriber podcast questions, unlimited league prize money, and plenty more. We'll also be expanding with additional subscriber podcasts each and every week of the season with regular beers and break-even ones already up at scplaybook.com.au. If you're into your other Supercoach formats, it also gets you access to our cricket, EPL, NBA, and NFL content all year round. AFL, if you are into your Supercoach AFL, guys, we have launched that in style, a studio down there in Melbourne. Go and check that one out. They have their own YouTube channel, socials, all of that stuff. So yes, go and follow along. All of that for less than $2 per week. To subscribe, head to scplaybook.com.au and click subscribe in the menu. Boys, before we get to TLT, I want to chat Vegas. I want to chat winners and losers. I want to chat comparisons in the scoring system. Now, I put out a post on socials this afternoon, and it had every player's scores on the old system compared to the new system. I'll touch on a few of those shortly. But by basically what you took from the new changes, and a few of the major ones there were the Valentine Holmes try assist, where under the old system, he would not have gotten a try assist or a line assist. It was for Setu 2. He did get it, which was an extra 16 points. Trey Mooney, again, filthy as a non-owner. It was going okay, pretty good up until that point. Scored the try off a bit of Dom Young brilliance. Line was broken. He did really well for what it's worth. Trey Mooney, late in the game, the big fella, to be supporting at a pivotal moment was fantastic from Trey Mooney on debut for the Knights. Got a line break for it along with his try. Big changes. What was your take on it all?
Yeah, I think just generally speaking, we might see some extra line breaks. I did notice last year watching games, if I was doing a draft stars or something, that NRL give line breaks. Even if you run remember last year I was blowing up, it's like they might have a little line break that's 6-7 metres, and Fox Sports were going, they haven't run far enough. I'm like, they've broken the line.
Yeah.
That's what a line break is. So NRL give those as generally a given, that's nice. Like, you want to be rewarded for that.
Which is also probably a little bit of the one where we know fullbacks are generally speaking overpriced, and we expect them to regress. They'll regress substantially on those try assists as sweepers and throwing the second last passes we spoke about all pre-season. But they might pick up a few more line assists in play and a few more line breaks in play, which will bridge that gap a little bit.
Haven't checked the numbers, but that makes sense because it does happen. But yeah, the line break off a kick was something that never happened previously under Fox stats. That's worth noting.
That's
whether it will happen all the time, I'm not sure, or whether they just deem that when Trey Mooney caught it, there was a bit of a line set up and he sort of went through it. They might have just said that. But it'd be an interesting one to watch.
Are you a Trey Mooney owner?
I am, thankfully.
That's such a Trey Mooney owner thing to say. There was a little bit of a line set up. Spare me.
It may or may not have won me a big free bet as well. So it was a very good 10 seconds of rugby league for the Spy. I'll turn over to Maxy for the next part of that because you've been all over it like a rash in terms of work rate, mate, tackles and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that was just my big takeaway. It just seemed to reward the workers a lot more, and in particular, just those guys who have a go. I mean, that's kind of like the least analytical way to say it, but it is sort of what it is.
Spot on.
I think probably the two scorers that really sort of jumped out of the park for me that weren't so obvious were Tommy Didden and Lockie Galvin, just for the sheer amount of base that both of those blokes had. Like, yes, a lot of those guys, they'll take a lot of runs, they take it deep into the line, they get tackled with the ball in a lot of possession, but they also just work hard in defense and make a lot of tackles. And both of those blokes based very close to 50 points, might have been over 50. So just sort of thinks that some of those guys, they're just going to the workers, their floor just comes up. And we saw that with a guy like Tommy Chester as well, out in the centres, jumping in, making a lot of third-man tackles and just getting through his normal work at centre. But 62 and base and power with no attacking stats was phenomenal. So I think it's going to probably dictate the type of player that you want. Like obviously forwards, there's a lot of them like that, but not all of them. But the guys who work hard, the guys who hustle, those guys who go all day, they're just going to be absolutely rewarded in this system.
Oh, the tackles, as you said, and we sort of knew this was coming pre-season, but the tackles, they're the big ones to come out of it. I think on NRL stats, which Supercoach now use, I think Cook had 69 tackles or something.
Huge.
That was unheard of last year. Granted, there was an extra 10 minutes to play with, we get that. But so to touch on, and again, check out the SC Playbook social channels, give them a follow as well while you're there. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all over the shop. But a few of the key ones that I noted, and I've got scores for every player there, but like a Connor Tracy at fullback, 76 on Fox, down to 57 on the NRL. Matty Burton, as you said, 53 on Fox, 45 NRL. That might have been a bit higher. Bailey Hayward, he was from 53 down to 50, so not a major sort of change there. Jacob Kiraz, he was 104 down to 99. Jacob Preston was 98 to 97, so no major changes there. Setu 2 on the wing, nothing substantial. Valentine Holmes was a big one, as we said. So he was 35 points on the Fox system, the old system that is. On the new system, because of that try assist, he had 54 points. Damien Cook, 96 on the old system, 105, a 9-point swing on the new system. A few big ones there. Luciano, 45 up to 52. Jaden Sewer, 64 up to 74. At the North Queensland Cowboys, we had Heilum Luki, 90 up to 95. Reid Marnie, he had a 6-point gain from 46 up to 52. And then at the Newcastle Knights, another one where you go, Kalyn Ponga was unbelievable. We'll get to him shortly. He was 126 on the old system, 116 on the new system. So some big swings there, guys. Jump on and check those out. As far as those games go, boys, and look, we're going to chat about these teams again in more depth next week. But just touching on those games and what we learnt for them, I suppose starting at Kalyn Ponga, goal kicking just looked unbelievable, didn't he? Take it with a grain of salt. Round 1 against the Cowboys, who were a long way from flattering, but at 600k, boys, he was one of my first picked in the preseason. I dropped him because he didn't feature in the preseason at all. But Spy, oh boy, he's going to be hard to leave out come first changes.
Yeah, he averaged 100 the first 2 rounds last year as well, because I started hot with him and then he went off a cliff. Sort of hoping that won't happen this year, but as you said, grain of salt. It's early days. It's the Cowboys who traditionally aren't the best defensive side in the NRL. Let's call it as it is. Vegas, he was up for it. Like, you know, he's fresh and firing and motivated. So let's see how it rolls out if he cops some niggles in that. But Caleb looked good. He was on the ball a lot. Big difference is, I was saying to my mate while I was watching, he definitely doesn't have the speed and explosiveness he once had. I know he's not that old, but like old Ponga was just power through the quads and agility and explosiveness. He's sort of almost going the way of, at the moment, a little bit like Sean Johnson when he got older. Like, yeah, he can still step and run and that, but he's actually like on the ball with ball playing, kicking and all that now. So maybe revolutionising his game a little bit.
He also didn't play a preseason trial.
And what I was going to say was, let's just see how that plays out. Whether he gets his legs back under him and looks unbelievable, he may. But they had a lot of ball. The Cowboys aren't traditionally strong defensively, so more than happy to check out round 2 and make a move if he's looking the goods.
Similar sediments, Maxy, or did you see enough to go, all right, I'm probably going to need this bloke by round 3?
Knowing me, I'm the type of guy who will act after 1 week, but I'm going to try and keep my powder dry just because I want more data, right? Like I just want to know a little bit more about if this is something he can sustain. But what I loved about it, 2 things. One was just the sheer amount of receipts that he got. We should have predicted that in a team with Dylan Brown and Fletcher Sharp in the halves that he's the best kicker, if not in the team, definitely on the left side of the field. So he's always going to get that ball on the 5th tackle and have the option to run, pass, or to put it up, which is just great. He had 50 touches at the back, which was huge. Like he looked like Scott Drinkwater in many senses, that he was just such a dominant playmaker. But the thing that I loved as well, and we should have picked up on this, I don't know why I didn't think of it, but they've picked up a coach who's known for his attack, and he's given them great shape, and he's given them all a license to offload as well. Like that was
the big one.
They were throwing the ball willy-nilly, and we know that offloads are one of the most heavily overweighted stats in the game in terms of what it achieves, but for what it does for Supercoach. So just seeing the freedom, seeing the confidence, just the happiness. Like you look at that spine. Like apologies to Jack Cogger and co, but when you got Jaden Brayley, Jack Cogger, and like I'm trying to think who there are other halfback, like Tyson Gamble. Like those guys
Jackson Hastings, Tyson Gamble, mate, you name them. I had a few of them.
respectfully, those guys are complete losers compared to Phoenix Crossell and Dylan Brown and Fletcher Sharp, who are actually cool. And I think...
How do you really feel, Max?
Well, mate, honestly, KP's a vibes guy. Like, he's a type of guy that you want to see interested in his footy. And when you see the types of, like, that he's around, he's giving handshakes and the carry-on that he's got for the camera, he just looks on. And that means something to me. I'm sorry, Timothy. It does.
No.
I agree. A vibes guy. I like it.
I think he's a huge vibes guy. And the vibes look high in Newcastle. And I feel like a new coach...
Happy and free.
Yeah. Fresh breath of air.
No.
I think that there's a lot of people in that team who are of serious Supercoach relevance.
Was anyone else as close to me as grabbing him Sunday when team list came out and he got the green dot and I'm like, 600K. And I was going to look into it, but I had to shuffle more than one thing to do it. I'm like, I'm not doing it in the last hour.
Too much.
But
Yeah.
if my flex would have been 606K and he was the same or hovering about that's all right. There was enough reason not to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of the opposite. I saw when Guru posted about him kicking and saying that his stocks were going up, it was like, well, who else was going to kick? And he kicked last year and he still didn't score well. So, it's just one that potentially we missed, but I'm really happy to watch for another week and then just see what happens in round 3.
Maxy, I love discussion as much as anyone, mate, but you're rushing me to start this podcast because you need to get home to said family.
Don't
And
ask me
at-
questions then.
at
If you don't want
this-
to talk about vibes, then
at
don't
this
have me on
rate,
the
we are
show.
not going to get to the Cowboys in Vegas, let alone TLT. So just putting that one out there early, all right? Trey Moon, for Kalyn Ponga, for me, I mean, if he backs it up next week and goes 80, 90 plus, I've got 3 mid-ranges I'll be
Thanks
getting
for
him,
coming.
but I'm going to watch. And to be honest, I'm going to watch the whole Newcastle Knights team next week without probably jumping on any. Trey Mooney is one that I'll be watching very closely. 94 points. I was actually watching that, and as much as anything, I was watching his minutes. I knew the output was going to be good. PPM was going to be good. The try very late on in the game, he actually only played 49 minutes, which is like, okay. And the try off the work of Dom Young, before that, it was early 60s, which was a very pass mark for his, mid-range, about 440K. Nonetheless, he looked really good. And I think the big one for me with Trey Mooney as a non-owner with the dual tour front row forward, as you said, Maxy, just a bit of a license to offload.
Yeah, and I think he's got more to improve on that too because he didn't offload until the end of the game. So I think there's more on top of that.
I will say, and I don't think Mooney will play less than 49 minutes. I think that probably sits around his regular. Maybe he does get an extra 5, but, the injury to Fletcher Sharp did also see Sandon Smith come on at 5'8", which meant Phoenix Crossland played bigger minutes through the middle. Things did change as a result. Nonetheless, again, another huge watch. I'm not going to jump on this week, barring injuries to my back row and all that sort of stuff. I want to say this week after round 1, but a huge watch and, all systems go for those who do own. Guys, over at... Jermaine McKeown was just the other one. Only 43 points. Didn't get a lot of attacking ball, but the big one was he played 68 minutes, which is not bad. I think as game time comes back, I think he's going to be an 80-minute man fully fit. So he's going to be a pick-up some stage, and I'm quite glad that he didn't do too well or find any attacks. He'll be a buy at some stage.
Also, I'm reshuffling my whole side for Fletcher Sharp.
What do we end up doing, boys, so Fletcher Sharp due back sounds about round 3 now, a minor PCL injury, which is encouraging.
Yep.
What do we end up doing at hooker, boys? We had the news around Brandon Smith, who is due to come back around about round 3. I personally have played it in the sense that I was looking at Hayward or I was looking at Reed Marnie, who I ended up going with. He could be back before it, but the round 4 bye for the Bunnies, I'm just like, especially if they start well, do they need to rush him back? Probably not. Does he come back round 5, which means no price change to round 7, he needs to get through it, etc. I just wanted to have someone doing something there, and especially under the new system, I was happy to get one of these players I thought was underpriced, being Reed Marnie, priced on 60 minutes from last year, more tackles to come, about 52, solid on the weekend, but not outstanding. What did you end up doing there, Spy?
In the backup spot, I've just got Cheese there at the moment. I've got Harry Grant starting, no buys coming up. The only way that backfires is if he gets hurt, which he may. But if he plays, it doesn't matter who's my reserve hooker. In saying all that, I will have a look at the Roosters starting number 9. Uelu, I don't know exactly.
Benai Uelu.
Yeah, but look, he might have some bigger minutes. Maybe he kind of plays some lock. I might even put him in just to see what happens. But I'm sort of then committing to probably a trade at hooker at some point that I don't necessarily want to use. Like, trades become vital late, so I might just roll it out with Cheese. We know he'll be back at some stage, and hope Harry can get through till then.
Yeah, Maxie, what did you do at hooker?
Yeah, I paid up for Reed. I had Cheese. I originally had Cheese and Reed, and then I had Grant and Cheese, but I've now got Grant and Reed. I looked at his stats. In games over 60 minutes, he averages 60 points. And so I figure short-term play, make some money, then go down to cheese.
Yep, very nice. Heilum Luki, boys, we were very high on him throughout the pre-season. Shit, that dude can play footy. It's so exciting. Scored an excellent try. Granted, he was running at an injured Fletcher Sharp. Shout out to Tommy Dearden, because there are a lot of halves in the NRL that we hammer when a player gets injured in the defensive line and they just don't go on and don't. It took Tom Dearden 2 tackles to isolate Luki on him and straight through.
He only had one set to do it as well. And I don't want to hear any blow-ups about Trey Mooney's try when you got Luki crashing over Fletcher on one leg.
Mate, Luki just scoped out an injured player and said, thank you very much. And you know what? If he wasn't injured, he probably would have scored anyway. So.
Please, Fletcher doesn't miss.
Do you not have Luki?
No.
Can't believe that you don't have Luki and you don't have Mooney. This is just wild.
Oh, sorry. What did you come last year, mate?
Only just behind you.
Yeah, behind. That's all I need to hear.
Nah, I just want to see. I know his minutes and his health, so we'll see.
The other thing I'm going to throw at that little snide comment, 2RF is stacked.
Yeah, but
we're about to get to TLT, and there are some even better buys that have emerged. Far out, it's going good. Anyway,
I'm going to take the high ground and say you had a great call that he was the best of the mid-rangers, and the stats really back that up as well. In games over 60 minutes, which he's only got a handful, his average is 67. So it's better than McEwen also. So yeah, he's looking really good. The base and power numbers was just so impressive. So I feel like he's going to be a guy who's not only going to make money, but be really playable. So really like him.
He's playing 80, he won't hesitate.
Boys, Scott Drinkwater just quickly rib cartilage injury. If named and good for week 2, owners give him one more week, then cut if he struggles, or could they go early to Kalyn Ponga next week?
He's carrying a rib cartilage.
Which
we
is
know that.
needles.
I'd be selling him.
Yep.
I'd be selling to Kalyn Ponga. I think the sensible thing to do is wait, but given how many trades you'll want to make next week, I'd be doing it early.
Let's get through Doggies Dragons relatively quickly, boys. Spy, one of your many boys, Jacob Kiraz, just my word, he's outstanding. He's at 99 points with a try in the first game of the season. Kick-out looked excellent for 98. Jacob Preston, 97, incredible. Good little combination coming there with Lockie Galvin, nice and early. Stephen Crichton, my little pod play, 68. Not bad. Not the best, not the worst. Elsewhere at the Doggies, Bailey Hayward, for anyone who took a little punt on him, 50 points. Obviously all in work rate. Solid, but a 90-minute game. Just not looking to run the ball, which is what happened last year. Matty Burton, just the 45 points. Over at the Dragons, Damien Cook, 105. Just a big watch, obviously, on Jacob Little and when he returns there. The Couchman boys, Toby, 72. Unfortunately, because of the Cheese injury, and I'm okay with it at the moment, but with Cheese injured, I had to go him up to Reed, which meant I had to downgrade someone, which was Toby down to Tommy Flegler to free up cash. 72 from Couchman, but again, bigger minutes. Ryan Couchman, I was really high on him in the preseason. I just didn't think there was a world you could pick him because he was off the bench on a forward-heavy bench at the Dragons. Just played huge minutes, looked incredible. Huge watch this week.
Yep.
Spy, any eye catches there?
Just the one on Toby Couch when everyone's probably very excited about him, but he did play the extra 10 minutes, obviously.
Yeah.
I think he played the whole.
I think he got just about all of it.
So and that's probably down to 63,
which is his average.
which is solid. But we'll see.
Yep.
Again, we're 2 games into the season. We don't need to overreact too much, but just take all these things on board and go from there. Also, Setu 2 went off early with cramps, the big fella. He'll be obviously back to 80 minutes once he gets the fitness up. And Dan Atkinson made 1 billion tackles, so we can bank on him for that at least. But
early days, not going to be too hard. Good defence, didn't look great, but
I wouldn't judge anything against the Doggies. I'd just line through it.
Maxy, any major takes from those 2 teams?
No, I just think that 2 looks playable, which is very, very good for a cheapie.
Yeah.
We know the Dragons like to attack on their edges, so those tries will keep coming, but it's a decent enough base and work rate, particularly if you add in that extra time for the cramp. So that gives me a lot more confidence with how I've structured the rest of my team.
Great.
15 runs, 4 tackle busts, all pretty tidy there. Ryan Couchman, again, boys, we'll chat more about him next
Give it a week.
But
Jacob Little's got to come back.
Yeah.
We've got him to see different minutes without injuries as well.
I'm saving a spot for him, though, don't you worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty. Team list Tuesday. We're going to go through each one of these teams. Fellas, pick out what we like. At the Melbourne Storm, the big one there off the back of the Zach Lomax news that he will not be playing for the Melbourne Storm anytime soon, at least. Moses Leo starts at centre, Nick Meaney off the wing. Moses Leo, near bottom dollar. That spot looks relatively assured. As I said, not fantastic in the trial, but he's a good footballer. Starts at centre. He rockets right up the cheapie CT Darbert rating. Spy. Interest?
Definitely interest. I've actually had a look at downgrading Selwyn Cobbo to Leo and just cashing in on a lot of these blokes. As Maxy alluded to, I own Tommy Chester. Like, while he's still playing, he looks unbelievable in terms of base and that. So I'm happy to play him. I'll be happy to play Maxy probably. I'll be happy to play 2. So I'm happy with Herbie and Iro as my 2 guns, and then some cheaper options through there for the moment, because I can rely on 2 of them each week.
I've got 4 like gun / sort of higher mid-range CT dubs. I really don't want to get rid of one of them, but with some of these CT dubs emerging, I'm kind of like, I think I'm probably going to have to cut ties with one of them, and could be Selwyn Cobbo, which I'm reluctant to do. Maxy, the back row, big watch. Probably no major surprises here. We know Trent Loiero's out for 2 weeks. We know Sean Blaw is due back maybe round 2, round 3, but nothing confirmed. Joe Chan and Natavali Lasardi named on the edges. Alec McDonald at 13. I think Lasardi's still probably the main one, about that 260k mark. Would you get him, or is there enough doubt that you wouldn't do it?
I think that the Ryan Couchman performance on the weekend gives me confidence to have a stab. Because if I'm sitting there in round 3 trying to find a spot for him and I get 2 looks at Lasardi, then happy days. I'm not a huge Joe Chan guy. I just don't know if he's really got the game for Supercoach, albeit he does look good at times. So Lasardi's the one. I think he's got good base, makes a lot of tackles. We'll give it a crack, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
And I just think you almost back the talent that, and we need to see Sean Blaw come back and when he comes back for starters, but Lasardi, he should be getting 2 games worth, I would imagine, of starting.
At least.
At least. It could be a lot longer. As you said, there are cheapies and there are cheapies who you expect to score well. And like if he gets the big minutes, he could play 80 on the edge in this game. Like the base, the power, and the attacking stats that come in as well.
Outside Munster. He's a good player. He's playing for a good team who are going to score a lot of points. I think they'll put him in positions to do well.
If it was outside Jerome Hughes, I think he'd be a must. Outside Munster, I actually don't love that because he runs around like a headless chook, Cameron Munster. But nonetheless, I like Lasardi. Boys, let's move over to the Parramatta Eels, and we know that Josh Addo-Carr is out for the start of the season, so Sean Russell joins the back line of Simonson, Pensini, Kelly and Iongi. We know Jonah Pezzett starting at 6. The big one, and Maxy, I know there's been a change to your team prior to TLT, I believe, and that was Jermaine Hopgood starting at prop. We've got Jack DeBell and also Jack Williams named on the edge. Now, there's a world where Jack Williams starts on the edge and shifts to the middle. Hopgood goes off, and then Kelvin Tuolangi comes on the edge. He's come into your team. I haven't been that crash hot on him this preseason. How do you like him named at prop?
I love it. And I think that looking at the bench as well, it looks like minutes are going to be pretty big. He's priced on a 53. We saw in those 8 or so games he played a prop last year, he was able to punch out a 65 average in pretty good minutes, albeit. Yeah. He is a guy who needs minutes, but I also think that the Eels are a team who are going to offload plenty, and we know that that's in his kit bag. So I'm all about Hopgood. I think for all preseason I had Toby Couchman as a real player of interest. But the fact I can get a guy who was 90 grand cheaper, who I don't think is going to go 9 points worse than him, he's just too good to pass up.
He averaged 53 minutes per game last year. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting round 1?
60 odd, yeah. I think
that enough? 7 minutes per game extra?
Yeah, because he was hurt last year and he played hooker for a long time. I reckon he is, what are his numbers up there, 1.1 a game. If he plays 60 minutes plus the new tackle stats, I reckon he's averaging 70.
And I think that it's the other 2 numbers that I really like there, which is 2023 he averaged 73 and 2024 he averaged 67. Like, this guy is a Supercoach gun. And the reason that he was bad last year wasn't just that he was playing lock. It's just that he was playing hurt. Yeah. So if he's healthy, he's very capable of playing big minutes, and we know he's got a Supercoach-friendly game. I think it's low risk, and I'm really excited to own.
I don't think you're going to go wrong. Like, I started him last year. It was a bit of a pop play, and it was okay. On any other year, I would start him. 2RF, it's the hot pot position this year. There are so many great options.
Front row as well, though.
Got the duel.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When
Second front rower, good looking spot for him.
And when you hear how my team's shaping up, I've got a break in case of emergency.
Okay. That's one thing about 2RF and front row forward. I think whichever way you go, there's going to be a few of those easy replacements should they go wrong. Boys, at the New Zealand Warriors, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak has won the wing spot over recruit Lofi Khan Pereira. Apologies. Guru's got in my head. Chanel Harris-Tavita fit to play round 1 at 5'8". Wade Egan at number 9. Jackson Ford starting in the front row. The big one here, though, Jacob Labour, I'll tell you about $235,000 with Leka Halasima on the edge spy.
$299.
$299. Okay, a bit awkwardly priced. What are your thoughts, Spy? Again, with lots of good options. I'm not as crash hot as I've seen others, especially the bloke on my left shoulder here. I just think with Lecker on the bench, what do minutes look like? Murata need a Corey to come back in at some stage. What do you reckon?
Risky proposition, as Wilson Carlos would say, but with upside. He's a very good player. I don't have an answer for you at the moment, but if you want to put him in your side, if anyone wants to put him in your side, I'm not against it. Just know you may have to.
Maxy, I reckon he's one of my first round watch. Make sure minutes are retained. Make sure he's scoring well. He could be the easiest round 3 pick of all time if minutes are there. I don't question his scoring ability. I do question what the minutes look like long term. What are your thoughts?
I think that he is a base beast. In his games over 40 minutes, he averages 55 minutes and 52 points, 46 in base and power. So he's a guy who gets through the tough stuff. And the fact that he's got a guy like Lecker that he's actually keeping out of the team, that really speaks volumes, I think, of how good his preseason must have been. 12 months ago, we were talking about this bloke and potentially getting him into our sides after he stood out in some trials. It didn't work out for him last year, but this season it just seems all systems go. So I'm really excited. But again, cheapies, there's always risk. But again, our couchman, I just feel like I can sit back and relax and sink into the couch because he's giving me that little bit of security that if Lasardi and him fall over...
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm big on Laban. He's a change for me today, particularly with the news of the Titans.
Yeah. Can I say a couple of things on the back row? It looks all lovely with all these green tick cheapies, but most of them aren't secure at all. We could end up with 4 who are duds.
For sure.
So it's very interesting.
What trades are for?
Yeah, not 4 on back
what
row.
what I will add to that, though, Spy, is
you
then add in non-Heilum Luki owners, you add in non-Trey Mooney owners, you add in, let's say Hopgood goes well. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but he's still not out of hand at, about 5-15K.
Yep.
Like, there's even mid-rangers that have sort of hit the ground running a little bit. And I think a big part of that is the new stat system.
For sure. Can I just quickly go back to Melbourne? Nick Meaney on the wing.
Yep.
Goal kicking.
Yep.
No threat of Lomax to come in and take the goal kicking.
I don't know if they end up... does he definitely play wing? I don't know, but that's not a bad spot to be.
Yeah, well, they've
Work rate, tackle buster, goal kicker, try scorer.
Yeah, they had... what's his name? Moses Leo in the centres in the trial as well.
They did.
And Hugo Peel out there. He's 600K Meaney, so he's not cheap, and he kicked for half of last year.
Yeah. He's probably an easy watch early, but he's tempting.
Yeah, I think you can probably peg him at around like a 65 to 70 average, which is only a little bit better than what he's priced at.
He'll say he retains a wing spot. He'll be when the Storm start running hot at some stage and they have a soft run. He could have a stretch of like a 90-point average. Early on, though, I'm not as keen.
Yeah, I agree. But big watch, and well done to people who drafted him as well, because his stocks have risen.
Boys,
massively.
Sydney Roosters, no sort of major shots. We know with Reece Robson, Albanaya, Uelu there at number 9. I don't particularly like him because Reece Robson, he could be back, any time from about round 3 to 5 sort of thing. It's all a little bit up in the air, but the reality is we could get 1, maybe 2 minor price rises. What minutes does he get there? And then he's just stuck there as a little trap for you. So I don't particularly like it unless there was any news of Robson being out for an extended period, but it doesn't sound like it'll be like that. A watch on Nat Butcher on the edge and Blake Steep at lock with Connor Watson on the bench. That being said, Victor Radley, he's come back about round 5 or 6 as well.
Round 7, yep.
I just think it's a watch around that pack, the Sydney Roosters. Moving on to the Broncos and Penny Panthers. Deja vu. Jakajewski starting on the edge for the Broncos. He'll score a double this week. People will flock to him at bottom dollar, and then it will not work out well. Brendan Pikura obviously out injured, hence why he's starting on the edge there, and I expect Oblix Tafa to get decent minutes as well. Probably nothing too major. The other one there is Corey Pax at number 9 with Ben Hunt off the bench, but largely Supercoach irrelevant. At the Panthers, a backline of Alamotti, Tungo, McLean, and Brian To'o. In the pack, Isaiah Papali'i, who I know a few people were keen on off the bench. Scotty Sorensen and Luke Garner started in the back row with Liam Martin to come back in as well. Boys, anything to touch on those few sides or not really?
Nothing to add.
I just love seeing the GOAT Kalani going. Getting ready for his NRL debut.
Do not pick Kalani going.
But he's the GOAT.
He is going to cause nightmares for anyone that has Kalani going. And for Supercoach to say, I'm glad he was named there and not in 2021-22 because he's going to be a special for 15 minute stints at the end of the game. It's just maybe at a time later in the year, but not to start. Sharkies and Titans at the Sharkies. Sione Katoa cleared of injury to take his place. Sam Stonestreet wins the other wing spot, vacated by the injured Ronaldo Mulitalo. Trindle and Nico Hines in the halves. Britton Nicola and Billy Burns in the back row. Teague Wilton out injured. And the other one, Jesse Colhoun at 13. Anything to add there, boys? Pretty as expected.
Nothing to add.
Yeah, but obviously a big watch on Colhoun.
We all Colhoun owners?
I'm not a Colhoun owner. I looked into him last night. I think that he's set to make like 100K, but not even.
We base that off.
His performances last year, where he was averaging 45 through NRL finals and in the last 2 games of the season. So
what minutes?
Playing 45 minutes.
I can get more than that.
Well, with the way that Puru played in the trial, don't know, but yes, we'll see. I think he's a good buy. I'm not super excited about him. I think it's also just the Cameron McInnes, the timeline. If you listen to NRL Physio, it's anywhere from like week 7 to week 10. We don't know. They think it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. So I like him, but I think that there's better.
I really like him. I have him in my team. I think he'll do well and earn good cash. But your red flags are all relevant. Like all these blokes we've spoken in that 2RF, as you said, Spy, there are red flags on every one of them.
Yep. And if I can find someone without the flags, I'll pay a bit more for him. But it's hard. You need cheapies to make your side good. So
at the Gold Coast Titans, Fayamani, the cheapie, wins the wing spot. Are we locking him in, boys? He's currently not in my team because, again, when you add in Moses Leo, firstly, he's in your team. Secondly, Maxy, Leo v. Fayamani. Who do you like?
I have both. Faymani versus Leo. That's the decision for me to make this week as to who I play because I've got all 5 of the cheapies. But yeah, I don't mind him. Look, anyone who gets called a Brian To'o clone in preseason is going to get my attention. And he had a pretty good work rate in the Wells of the trial. So we'll see how we go. I'm not expecting huge things against the Sharks. I think the Sharks will be too good for him this week. But don't think he's a terrible pick by any means.
I think I'd play Leo this week of the 2 of them if you had both. Moving forward, though, on the wing, Fayamani.
I'm going to play Fayamani this week just because of that work rate and just in the hope he bags a sneaky meat pie. But if he doesn't, he hopefully work his way up to 40-odd anyway.
He's a good pick.
Who else are we missing from this back line? Because Max Feeney's there, Jojo at centre, Phil Sammy on the wing.
And that's the team.
They're not missing someone else?
No, they don't. That's who they've got. I mean, obviously the big one is Jaden Campbell. Not there in the number 7, which I'm sure you're about to get to. But no, that's their team. I think Brian Kelly's moved on. Olofi Khan Pereira, he's left too. So
that's it.
Yeah, they're pretty light on in the back.
Jeez, friggin' oath they are. Yes, Lockie Ilias at 7, Jaden Campbell out for anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. Get rid of him if he's in your team.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It sucks.
Like seeing him play footy. Yes. But in saying that, it could literally be one game he misses. So it's a
shame. A big one, guys, in the back row. Josh Paxton brushed in the reserves. Had that head knock early in the trial. Look, maybe they were thinking Arama Howe long-term anyway, Josh Hannay. But yes, if it was on the fence and it was a 50-50 call, that early head knock to Josh Paxton has turned out diabolical because he's missed the entire 19. Arama Howe. Max, you got a price for Arama Howe. Guys, obviously, we record this at 4:30. Teams just dropped. We're processing as well. What's Howe at?
235K for Arama Howe. And for those people who watched the trials as closely as I did, he was a real standout. Was running good lines, offloading, was really, really good. So huge watch on him. He's just another one of those guys. I wouldn't start with him just with Patson in the reserves unless we get confirmation he's actually won the spot. But yeah, big watch. He could be around 3 targets.
He's a front rower in Supercoach, so that sort of potentially solves that 4th front row dilemma, which is often a pickle. But again, he might become this year's trap. That's just what tends to happen.
Well, let's get on to Sangstar and make sure he gets that duel.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah,
I will say anyone that does want to take a little punt on him early, Paxton being in the 22, provided he does miss the 19 game day and not featuring on the bench, is definitely beneficial. Cooper Bye also on the bench with Chris Randall starting at 13. Boys, 2 RF cheapies everywhere. Cooper Bye. I think there are better buys. I will own him at some point. At that point, could be
Marcus.
That could be that could be round 3. But Spy, there are a lot of starting back rowers. He's off the bench. We don't know what his minutes are going to be. He's young. I'm happy to wait.
Yeah, he's I don't know. Like I miss Luki and Couchman. No, Couchman and Ryan, but I feel like that spot's going to be Luki and Couchman anyway, so I don't think it matters all that much. If I can find someone starting and doing a better job, sure, but there's just a lot of traps for the back row, I feel. So I'll go with who I think is the best option, but I do fully need to go through the teams and just review who the options are and who's got to come back from injury, because at least By's won his spot.
He's not going anywhere. He will get minutes. Like, there are a lot of these starting edge back roamers, Arama Howe included, Jacob Laban included, that they could go from, especially on the six-man bench, they could not feature in games by round 3 because job security is that tight. Cooper Bye is going to be there in some regard, but we need him more than to be there. We need him playing 40-plus kind of thing.
I'm not overly keen on any of those back rowers. I'm just going to pick
who
a
are your
few.
back row cheapie, Spy?
So, Lasati, Cooper Bye, Calhoun. Let's go down the side there. Bear with me. Calhoun. That's it. They're my 3. And I've got Howe up front at the moment.
You've brought Howe in.
Jeez, that was quick.
Well, I think I had enough there. So,
Nice. I think I would just say
who else? Who am I missing? They all played last week.
Laban. I think on bye he's just going to be a slow burn. Like looking at the guys in front of him, there's every chance that he is the starting lock by the end of the season. And in which case, when we start to see those minutes go up, then get him. But he's not the worst stash because you're never really going to play your second row, are you?
I think I want Laban based on just looking at that, because at least he's won the starting spot. I'll have to get him in.
Get both.
He's just more expensive, so I've got to think of it elsewhere. He's like that 300k. It's a little bit awkward.
This is the point where I get to tell you it's not all about money, Spy. It's not all about money, which is what you
I thought it was
Well, it is
all
when I
about
have-
money to you.
It is when I have
It
to
is.
change my team.
We'll get to your team strategy shortly, actually, and very intriguing.
What I'm saying is, to get Laban, I have to drop someone I want that I've locked in. I've already told them they're
Rather
playing.
how you've already brought him in and cut him. That was quick.
Well, I haven't called him. I haven't called him yet, so I can cut him.
Okay.
The shortest stint of all time. All righty. Raiders at Seagulls and Raiders, I should say, at Brookie Oval on Saturday evening at Manly. Nothing too exciting there. Taniela Paseka on return to the NRL from that ACL injury, starting at prop. Good signs for him. Joey Walsh, a big watch named at number 14, and a pretty light bench for the Manly Warringah Seagulls. At the Raiders, things going on all over the place. Matt Timoko dropped. Owen Paddy dropped. Simi Sasangi, yes, back rower. Simi Sasangi starting at centre. Ethan Sanders, named at 7, starting. We have Tom Starling at 9. We have Jaden Brayley in the 14, the hooking rotation. Zach Hosking dropped to the bench. Matty Nicholson in the reserves. Noah Martin, arguably the shock of the team list. And we're talking to our cheapies. Noah Martin, another one, boys. Again, probably not too much to add at Manly, but Spy at the Raiders. What I'm looking at here is just a classic Ricky Stewart, rocket up the backside. Boys, you won the minor premiership last year. Cut any complacent shit. And there are a few people who maybe their skin folds are a bit too chubby on return to preseason training or something, and he's picked out a few of them and said, it's you and you're going to be made an example of, purely because Ricky's making a statement. Because I don't see a world where Matt Timoko isn't starting centre in a few weeks' time or in a month's time, whatever it'll be, where Zach Hosking or Matty Nicholson aren't starting on the edge. But look, Ricky shaking things up.
I like that. Love that from Coach Stick. What I'll say is there's a quote here that Nicholson will get his 80 minutes in Cup after having a shoulder issue in the last trial. So it's a case of making sure he's all good to go. I'd expect him back pretty soon. So Noah Martin, again, trap all over him, in my opinion.
I would not touch Noah Martin with a 50-foot pole with that many edge-back rowers at the Raiders. And Maxy, anything to add?
No, just that his brother Miles Martin has been selected in my team. One of the GOATs, Nuffs. So yeah, love the Martin family.
He's in the mix for me as well, actually.
At Sunday afternoon, Dolphins v Rabbitohs, game of the round in my opinion. I think the Storm Eels also going to be a belter. Hamiso Tabuai, Fido named at fullback side. Christian Wolf did notify us of this a week or two ago. Trey Fuller on the bench. Avery stays at centre, etc., etc. A big one, boys. Tom Gilbert and Tommy Flegler in the front row. Lemuelu and Fini Fuaki on the edges, and Morgan Knowles at lock. They're another club where they have so much forward depth. They have Max Plath, among others, to come back into this squad, but so much forward depth that I want to see the minutes play out. But by last week when Cheese was injured, I had to upgrade to Marnie, and I had to, as I said, drop Couchman down to free up some cash. The man that came in a little bit reluctantly for me was Tom Flegler. I was expecting him to play off the bench on return. I feel much better seeing him named to start.
I like that, and he's another one I might pivot to over those flaggy type second rowers, who at least I know he's just going to be building into the season, and he's the man there. Very interesting, I tell you. Morgan Knowles as well. Very good player in the Super League. His brother played for the mighty Cooma Stallions, actually.
He did. Shout out Gareth.
Yep. And he's represented the Poms. He's a good footballer. So, I mean, I'm not picking him now because I don't know minutes, but he could easily come out and just work the house down. So, close eye on him.
Especially with Max Plath to return as well in that 13. Well, he'll probably return at 9. Oh, sorry. Geez, they've got some options. Johnny Nash and King will come back at 9 at some point. So Max Plath will play either 9 or 13, pending the availability of Marshall King.
Yep.
Maxy, anything to add there?
No, it's like 2 Toms in the pack, pretty good. Not as good as 2 Ethans in the halves, but no, Flegler's is a huge watch. I think for me, he's around that price point of Taniela Paseka. So there's just a bit of a decision to make on which one of them you go. And they've both got very good Supercoach potential and pedigree. So I think he's potentially a bit of a slow burn. They might ease him in, but good player. It would be a decent starting pick for sure.
At the 2026 Premiers South Sydney, few little calls there. Bronson Garlick at 9 with Brandon Smith unavailable. We have Peter Mamazelos named at 14. Ewan Aitken named to start in the back row. Tallis Duncan off the bench, as we alluded to at the top of the show. Interesting Ashton Ward at 7 with Jaden Sullivan on the bench as well. So, boys, Spy, a few surprises. I don't think overly Supercoach relevant. Max would be looking at things very differently with a draft lens, and especially around Tallis Duncan. But I think classic-wise, probably nothing too major there.
Nah, just rugby league-wise interesting. Tell you what, Tallis Duncan only scored 400 tries and carried them late last year.
What's a man got to do to start? Seriously.
Maybe he's a bit complacent in pre-season. He's getting a rocket as well.
Yeah. Maxi?
No, look, there's nothing too sort of interesting. I think Bronson Garlick's, I wouldn't look at him as an option. Well, I'm sure we'll get questions about him because you pick him up at hooker for about 360K. But just with Peter Mamazoulis there, it'll just be a bit of a minute split. No Adam Elliott as well, so we could see some very good minutes for Cameron Murray. The big one for me, though, boys, is just looking at that bench. You've got the likes of Jaden Sullivan, Peter Mamazelos on there, and I think Moala Graham Tafu, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, is a Warriors buy, and he is a back. I'll just look at Matty to see if he knows anything about him. Nice, that's good to know. Mate, that is a light bench. Like Tallis, edge, he can play a bit of middle. Hubner, they've converted him to a prop. Sean Kepi, a prop, but not necessarily like a minutes guy. Looking at Keaon, man, I swear, like, we look at value for starting teams. He's a guy who was average for half the season at second row last year, and Adonis at front row for all of last year. Everyone's been talking about, like, they don't want him in this season because he's not going to get as many minutes. Mate, looking at that bench, he could play huge minutes again, Keaon, and he's unders. Like, he's only, let me just check.
66K.
I'm
Which is ridiculous.
desperate to own him, Maxi.
So, look, I just think Keaon, it's this for me. Very excited about Keaon, and maybe I'll tell you why soon.
And the other one there, obviously, Jai Arrow, unavailable, and doesn't look like he'll be playing anytime too soon.
Yes, and that's it. Another huge one, a guy gone out of their rotation, so it doesn't sound good for him.
Yeah, and even you add there, like, Arrow gone, Brandon Smith, he was going to be playing, spending time at 13. So it's like, it's just, the landscape has changed very quickly. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Keaon looks a great buy. I lost one bunny in Brandon Smith, but I now have room for another bunny. So maybe Keaon.
I'll just drop Lasati for Keaon while we're doing this.
Oh, just to spare 400K up the sleeve, Spy?
I had to drop Cleary, but that's all right.
Oh, my God.
I did.
To who, Sam Walker?
I had Walker and Cleary.
Who's Cleary gone down to?
Sanders.
Jeez.
He's all over the shop.
There's just 2 spots left in my side, and anything could happen.
Spikey, Max, you get on your laptop and Google Rattled and see if a picture of Spy comes up, because you are all over the shop, mate.
And you won't own any of them by Thursday night.
I don't normally listen to Maxi, but I've wanted Keaon. He's been the top of my watch list all pre-season. Just that buy was spooking me.
All right, you just wait till the team reveal, Spy.
Yeah, come very shortly. Guys, coming into 2026, make sure you get your financial goals for the year sorted in style. If you're looking at getting into the housing market for the first time as a 2026 goal, get the journey started by booking in with the team. You might be making the leap into the investment market or saving some cash by refinancing your current loans. Whatever it is you're after, Pat and the team at Mortgage Choice Sutherland, Cronulla and Wollongong will get the year started for you on the right foot, or in this case, the footy season started on the right foot. Best of all, it's free of charge because you listen to the SC Playbook podcast. So mention SC Playbook when you get in touch, and you get a free consult worth $129 to get in touch. Do so via Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW, or give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611. Paddy will be on the show next week. He will have selected a team post round one, his first and only team of the year. He's not cheating. There's no double teamer. He's got one team. And I'll tell you what, he's going to own Ryan Couchman. He's going to have Heilum Luki. He's going to have Trey Mooney. He's not going to be asking any of these questions. He's got all the information there.
Actually, 2 games in, it could be the perfect year to do it for Paddy.
Oh, mate. And if he wins Supercoach this year off the back of my masterful ploy, I'll be bumping up the sponsorship rate next year. It's going to work.
And then if he wins it, they're going to have to ban it next year because everyone will pick their team in round 2.
Yeah. Alrighty. Maximus. Team reveal. You've been excited for this one. At hookers, Reid Marnie, Harry Grant. You've spoken through Reid Marnie. Harry Grant speaks for himself. In the front row, Payne Haas, Trey Mooney, Taniela Paseka, Miles Martin. I think for the most part, they speak for themselves. Miles Martin talks through you enough.
I think that front row 4 is a place that I don't care about. It helps me with captaining, and I think that the money that I can use elsewhere in my team is going to very good places. As it stands, I've got 100K left in the bank with this team reveal. If I had 150, I'd maybe go up to a Flegler, but as it stands, I'm happy to have one enough, and I think putting it there is fine.
Boo. Back row, Isaiah Yeo, Dave Fafita, Heilum Luki. Let's go. On the bench, Jermaine Hopgood, Jacob Laban, and Atavalu Lasati. I mean, we've spoken through the majority of them. Isaiah Yeo, one that's been high in pre-season. Talk us through your Yeo pick.
Yeah, I had Tino from day one. Just wanted to lock away there. My general strategy is that I want one player at each position who's a keeper, or if not, very, very, very close to a keeper. And when you can find a guy who's got keeper potential, who's also at value, then it's just tick, tick, tick. And Isaiah Yeo presents that. He goes up 7 points in the new scoring system. He had a down year last year. I don't think there was any coincidence that with Jerome Luai leaving, he became a little bit more of a ball player. But Blaze is another year in, so I think that his runs will go up. So hopefully just set and forget, and we'll reassess around Origin time. Mate,
you look at the weekend sample size of the tacklers and the benefits.
Yeah.
I think Isaiah Yeo is going to go through the roof, his stocks. And not in a sitting there belting out tons type one, just doing what Isaiah Yeo does. Everything he does each and every week for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years of just base, solid stats, belting out the tackles, just with 10 more per game.
He could sneak an early try.
Oh, be up and about, yeah.
Wouldn't that be handy?
And he will, like, his footwork at the line is good.
Oh, he'll get one. I just want it round 1 or 2, not round 8.
But even just that, like, he's got the ball playing, a little tip on at the line, something going through, just give us something.
Yeah.
Halfbacks, Sammy Walker. Here's a bit of Tigers flavour for you. Adam Dewey. Talk us through those two.
Mate, Tigers flavour, but value flavour as well. And I think that my biggest takeaway so far from the 2 Vegas games is that the scoring system is great. Forwards are better. We know that. But the guys who present value for every other reason, be it role change, be it injury discount, all of these things, like they are still the value guys to target, particularly in your round 1 team. And both of these guys tick that box. So Sammy Walker last year, he's priced at a 70, and he averaged 78 when you take out his concussion game.
Yeah.
So he was unbelievable.
Returning from an ACL.
I know. I'm so pumped. I had Jaden Campbell. I'm very happy to own Sam Walker. I could have my arm twisted towards a Nico, but I want a piece of the Roosters because I think they're going to score a lot of points. And I'm very happy to have the main piece of them in that sense. He'll be my VC as well this week. And Adam Dewey, man, I love this guy, right? And I've been talking about him nonstop in the Discord. I think people are probably sick of it, but I'll say it's not Tigers bias. When you look at his career sample size of games played in the halves, mostly at 5/8, but also a little bit at halfback, his average is 70 on the nose. Like, it's not a small sample size either. Like, we've got a very decent sample size of data for this guy, particularly as a half, goal-kicking half, a runner, a guy who offloads in contact. He's got a really, really good Supercoach game. He's just that accumulator, Nico Hines, Jaden Campbell type who just gets through a lot of work. And for his price, because he played mostly centre last year, priced at a 57, you're getting 13 points of value in a starting side on a Tigers team on the up. I love him. He was basically a day one pick for me, and I cannot wait to unveil him in round 2.
And mate, you're a sicko for Tigers bias, as good as I've
Absolute
seen,
sicko.
and that includes Hammy Goodman. But I'm with you. I think Adam Dewey's a great pick, and you're very fortunate the Tigers have the bye round 1 because you would have some shit Tigers picks in there. Adam Dewey's not one of them. I really like him. I think he's a great pick up to start the season. Cody Walker, and the other thing with Adam Dewey is, mate, he spent half his career on the sidelines injured. So he then comes back from injury, he eases into things and all of that. So a full pre-season behind him, got in the back end of last year. Look out, Adam Dewey. I think it's a cheeky little pick and I like it. In the 5'8 shot, Cody Walker and Jonah Pizzette, kind of speaks for itself. Let me ask you the question around Cody Walker. I've been high on him all pre-season, looked outstanding in the trial against Manly. Everyone's question mark around Cody Walker is his fitness. Are you worried about that or not?
I couldn't have been lower on him before that trial. Every single person in the Discord who sent me their team for feedback, which was probably over 100, I told them stay away from Cody or have Purdue in your CTW just as backup. But the trial, you just can't overlook the eye test. The stats might hurt him a little bit, but if you can just stay on the field, I think he's onto a good thing, hopefully a quick thing as well, and ship him to someone else. I don't mind the Purdue in CTW move as that little handcuff. I haven't done it myself, but look, I think for a position which is going to be pretty poor all year, if your name's not Fletcher Sharp, Cody's the best of the bunch.
Oh, mate, I'm going to be going Cody Walker to Fletcher Sharp sideways by about round 5 or 6.
How good's that
going to
gonna be?
Glorious. And even on Cody Walker, look, like a lot of these players who sweep the fullbacks, etc., Cody Walker will probably negatively affect them at times. But what I will say is Cody Walker, even in the trial, he was sweeping to the right-hand side of the field. And he's a master at getting that 3v2 right, whether it's the short ball to Jackie White and Latrell, who are tough, hard-running centres, or the cut ball. He just gets it right. So I think he'll be all right.
We just need like a month. We just need a month and then we're sweet.
We said, and that's the thing, right, with these, unless they're keepers that you're buying with a history of injury, people need to remember, we only need a month or 5 weeks to get a few price rises and get us through that early part. Like, we don't need... They can get injured in round 8 or 9 or 10. We just need him at the start.
And he's
One good early score.
He is, and he's the one guy who breaks my rule of trying to get a keeper in every position. And I think that that's another reason why I went Harry Grant up at hooker, just so I could only have one position that I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable in.
Mate,
Cody could be a keeper if he stayed fit.
He could be, but I
There's
definitely
just
would have him
100%
as
he
my
could be.
backup for sure. Yeah.
if Fletcher Sharp hadn't looked so unbelievable in the space of 20 minutes, and look, potentially you could have Sharp and Cody Walker, but I nearly would have said a firing and fit Cody Walker would be a keeper, but Fletcher Sharp at 5'8". Nate, no major surprises at CTW. You've got Herbie and Latrell who speak for themselves, and then you have cheapies in Leo, Tu, Makasini, Chester, and Fomani. Mm-hmm. The question there, though, is you've gone very heavy on cheapies, which ties into anyone who's familiar with the SC Playbook podcast. 2 years in a row you went hard on cash, or just last year?
Last 2 years. Yep.
You've gone all in on maximising cash generation to increase your squad value, where others have at times chased points a little earlier. You've just gone cash, cash, cash. I'm going to have the biggest value team I can. That looks to me what you're doing at CT Dub. Talk through your strategy this year, and I suppose what's being reflected in your CT Dub.
I think CT Dub has just been proven time after time to be the best cash generation place, particularly just from the pace that these guys can make their money. Because it only takes 2 weeks in a row of tries, these guys falling over the line, and the big numbers start rolling in. And it's also the place where more cheapies come up because you're bringing in two positions, right? Centre and wing. So when there's injuries and there's new guys popping onto the scene, you just can dump down to the new cheapie and keep going. The only reason I've got the confidence to go 5 and not 4 and a mid-ranger, because I have toyed around with a Campbell Graham, even a Will Warbrick, who's 10 points under his average from last year because of an injury discount, is that these guys look playable. Like, I was at Leichhardt Oval watching Hamasi Makasini do his thing against the Penrith Panthers. Mate, that place shook. And if he is playing first grade next week, which I expect, then he's playable. Tom Chester, playable, work rate. Setu too, playable, work rate, and in a team who know how to score try on their edges. Moses Leo, Faimani, we get a look this weekend. But the fact that these guys are cheap and playable gives me the confidence to put more of my money into the halves and the forwards. And the other thing you didn't touch on in my halfback is I'm not going either of those two cheapies.
Yes,
and that's the thing. So I'd much rather the money-making potential in CTW than at halfback. And Dan Atkinson really proved that point to me on the weekend.
Good start.
Yeah.
Good start. Yes, very fascinating. I think you're maybe being a little ambitious on them all being playable week in, week out.
Not all, most.
It's just a matter of, like getting the cheapy CT dubs, getting the right one on the right week.
Correct.
Tom Chester, early days, but geez, he got through some work on the weekend. Mate, at fullback, Reece Walsh, and just with all these CT dub cheapies, if I have to flip Cobbo down, I don't want to, but to one of these cheapies, it's going to open up a little door for a certain Reece Walsh at the Stallions. Reece Walsh and Keanu, Kinney, no, nothing said. I will say, though, actually, goal kicker at the Titans. With no Jaden Campbell, could be Kinney, Beau Fermor.
Yeah.
Big watch. Reece Walsh, fullback. Talk to us.
He was a day one pick, but I will confess, I have flip-flopped a lot on him. I've looked at Drinkwater. I looked at Teddy, just because you think the guy that we're going to want to own and has low ownership because of his price. But for me, I always look for value and look at the numbers. And Walsh's numbers last year just scream pick me. It was the 120-point post-Origin average, including NRL finals that he pumped last year. Just absolutely incredible. The fact that he's still young and getting better just gives me confidence that if his head's right and the Broncos come out and play well, then he can have some really, really big games. I'm not expecting lights out particularly against Penrith in game one.
What would you take round one? Because I've got him as well. Would you go, that's a pass mark?
60?
Yeah, I was thinking 60 as well.
60 I'll be happy with.
Yep.
But when you look at the Broncos draw from round 4, then you start to go like, if you don't own this guy, that is when he could really, really, really hurt you.
You can wait on him, though.
You could wait, but again...
Under the draw logic.
You could, but the question then was, who do I pick first?
Yeah.
And that was going to be a drinky into him. Then I thought, I don't really want to force my hand into a trade when I don't know what else is going to happen in the rest of my team. But just to talk about the draw from round 4. So round 3, they got the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Tigers in a row. So 3 games in a row, which are elite. And they've got the Roosters, the Warriors, the Bulldogs. So it gets a little bit tougher, but there's 3 games there where he's seriously...
120 plus.
Yeah, and he's going to be a captaincy potential.
Yeah.
And I want to have guys who I want to captain. They are you have to value the guys who are captain options more highly than anyone else in this game. That was a huge learning for me last year. And he is absolutely that guy. So I won't be afraid to even potentially turn him into a Kalyn Ponga if he starts really slow and KP looks like he's going to get back to an 80 average, because that would stick with my methodology.
It's funny, and I think there's every chance that happens with Reece Walsh owners, that they flip him down to Ponga round 3 after what we've seen, and if he starts with a pair of 50 sort of thing, that break even is through the roof. It's going to coincide with the Cowboys at Suncorp.
Yeah. But again, that's where the cash generation mindset will go.
Yeah.
If we're staring at Reece Walsh, 180 break even, Kalyn Ponga, 20 break even, and Kalyn's looking like an 85 average, which is what he did for 2 years prior, then I won't hesitate to pull the trigger. Even if that's a short-term thing and I'm bringing Reece in like a week later and the cash swing nets me 150K.
There is no way in the world I'm selling a Reece Walsh for the Cowboys. I don't give a shit what his break-even is.
Oh, no, I will.
Unless...
We'll talk about it in week 3.
It's because he's not playing well. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's it.
But if he's just ready to explode, I don't care. He will just be staying on my side, and I'll get Kalyn somewhere else.
Yeah, we need the data, but I'm really, really excited to own him. He broke my little heart last year, so we've got to fix that.
I look forward, Maxy, to you leading me at round 20 with $150 million squad value, running out of trades and me running you down. About round 25, round 26. You might make it to round 27 this year.
Odds on.
Nonetheless, you will be behind me by the end of the Supercoach season. But thank you for sharing your team. Oh, Keon's in the flex. Sorry, guys. We've got Keon in the flex. We've spoken about Keon. Keon's in the flex. Spy, any last musings, mate?
My last musings are I've just done a little live shuffle while Maxy was chatting. And I now don't own Joe Chan, Arama Howe, Cooper Bai, Noah Martin, Lasati. I dropped them all.
Well,
I think they're all flags. I reckon we're going to get stuck with them. My back row now, I've got 4 good back rowers now.
Why don't you save it for the Discord, Spy?
Yeah.
Save it for the paying members, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a good advocate of SC play, Max. Yeah, you're good at what you do.
But I think that's my theme of today. I've been like, gee, I don't really want a lot of these guys. So
your theme of today is rattled as shit.
Pumped.
You're rattled.
Rattled would be like, was going to act rattled. But
You've just made 6 changes in like 30 minutes. That's so rattled.
no, I saw team list. I'm like, I don't want these guys.
Fair
He heard my team. He's just copied it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keaon, I just needed a little something to get me over the hump, and he's in.
Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Subscribe to SC Playbook at scplaybook.com. Join our Unlimited League. Jump in the Discord if you're a subscriber. Do all those great things. Follow us along. Comment on YouTube. Whatever you can do to support the platform. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.